Growing up, you said you started content creation when you were 12 years old. Did you always want to be like a famous YouTuber? Or,
Well, not specifically a YouTuber. I would want to be some kind of entertainer. Everything that happened made me the person who I am, right? Therefore, it's good.
Yeah. Do you think
Because
like that's
if
why
that
like
didn't
you
happen,
work out a lot too? Because like now you're strong and tough.
I mean, that's also a big story. Here, the mentality is very close-minded. So if you say to anyone you want to be something big, they're most likely going to make fun of you, or you're like, okay, you're delusional, you know?
Right.
Nobody's going to believe in you. I go to my university and I'm like, boys, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. I go to my job and I'm like, boys, I'm out. I'm not doing it. I gave up on everything. I had like 180 subscribers, 200 subscribers at the time. And I gave up on everything you can imagine at the time just to go full-time YouTube. I'm gonna be like, okay, I'll make it no matter what. I don't care.
Hey guys, what's up? It is Kyootbot here. Today we have a very special episode where we're gonna deep dive with Vlad NCL and all the things that he's done and gone through in order to get to the point where he is. He's gonna give us some tips and tricks to the YouTube algorithm, the TikTok algorithm, etc. And I'm really excited. I hope you guys like it. Coming up. Hello, how are you today?
Hello, I'm fine. How about you?
I'm good. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Hello, everyone. I am Vlad, also known as Vladimir or Vlad NCL. Depends. Usually, that's not how I look. Many people, in fact, have no idea how I look. I don't even know how. I usually look a little bit more like a girl, let's say. I do IRL pranks, dressed as a girl in the streets, something which is quite unique, you could say. Nobody else really does it. And it started off from Omegle, fake girl pranks. You might have seen those. They're relatively popular. That's about it for my intro.
Yeah, wait, what made you want to start dressing like a girl on Omegle?
Well, to be fair, I started from making a lot of different content, like comedy, fitness, sketches, like gaming. Anything you probably name, I probably did. And eventually it came to a point where I tried the Omegle thing, and that's what worked the most. So I started building onto it.
Yeah, so how long have you been in content creation for?
Let's say professionally or generally?
Generally.
Generally, I used to make content ever since I was like 12 years old. I would do like shooter game montages and stuff like that, like gaming.
Are you good at shooters too?
I used to be. Back when I was playing, I was like a semi-pro. So I used to be. I don't know anymore, but yeah.
Were you like CSGO pro? Like what game was that?
It was Crossfire. It was very similar to CS.
Okay, and where did you grow up?
I grew up in Cyprus. My mother is Russian, and that's why I'm half Russian. Many people ask me, are you Russian or are you from Cyprus? Like, why can't I be both? I'm just like half. Simple as that.
Yeah. Where's Cyprus?
Do you know where Greece is?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little bit more to the south and to the east.
Okay.
It's right above Egypt.
So your accent, is that Russian or Greece?
Well, if I put zero effort, it's a mix. It's 100% like some weird mixture. If I like try and make it a little bit more for the content, then it's way more strong Russian accent. But let's say before I had like any prior English experience, my English would sound a little bit more Russian.
Okay. So growing up, you said you started content creation when you were 12 years old. Did you always want to be like a famous YouTuber? Or,
well, not specifically a YouTuber. I would want to be some kind of entertainer. That's kind of the thing I always knew I wanted to do. Now, if it was a YouTuber seemed to be the most achievable one because you don't need so much like the connections or to enter somewhere. You can just post content, and if you're good enough, you could make it. That was like my idea. So I was like, okay, this is the most achievable one, so I'll try the most on that one. And I always had confidence in myself. I just didn't know when it's gonna happen. All I knew is that I work my ass off on anything I do. So if I put my mind to it, I'll probably do it. I just not sure when I'm going to manage to succeed in it.
Yeah, what was growing up for you like?
Oh, okay. Now that's a really big topic, to be honest. So I'll need you to kind of guide me a little bit on which aspects of it you want, because I'll just give you a few like highlights of my life, especially growing up,
Yeah.
and that's where I'll need you to tell me, okay, I need more details here or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was raised not in a house, but in a tavern, because my father used to own a fish tavern, right? And that's where I grew up. But it's kind of a not such a great of a story, because we had a lot of trauma growing up in that aspect. Since a lot of domestic violence, stuff like that.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So yes, yeah. So even since I was a child, like my dad would cheat on my mom. He would return back to home like drunk, lose all the money he made on gambling, and that's kind of what my life was like seeing my mom getting beaten up. I
Damn,
was in fear. I
Interesting.
was
And you're
living
like
in fear as a
smiling,
child.
like telling the story.
Yeah, because
Wow.
my mentality is that everything that happened made me the person who I am, right? Therefore, it's good.
Yeah. Do you think like
Because
that's
if
why
that
like
didn't
you
happen,
work out a lot too? Because like now you're strong and tough.
I mean, that's also a big story. My story is very like complicated and weird. That's why I'm gonna need some help here to specify into which topics you wanna dive in.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned, I grew up in a very weird and scary environment, as many people would characterize it. And I would always like stay home. Loud music would play till night. I had trouble sleeping most of the times because I was like one wall away from a busy tavern, you know?
Yeah.
And we had a lot of family problems, let's say. And my mother couldn't take it anymore. So when it was in 2006. So when I was 8 years old, we escaped that place. And my mother was back then was an immigrant. So she didn't have papers, she didn't have anything. And somehow she had to find a job and sustain me. So we moved into a really small apartment with nothing inside, like barely any furniture that was already in the place, barely any food. At that point, we were so fucking poor, we barely had anything to eat. I can recall like the first 2 days we moved into that apartment, we had like, how do you call it? A can of Pringles and some bread. And that's what I ate for like the first 2 days. And my father used to terrorize us. Like he would call all the time to try and figure out where we are. He would try to find us, and eventually, where we had to answer the phone, he would basically, I don't know what's the word in English for that, but he would tell me that you're no longer my son, and I will remove you as my son. I don't know what's the word
You were
for
8 years old.
Yeah.
What a crappy person. Huh.
I mean, yeah, shit happens, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, 2 years later, my mother kind of was working 2 jobs, so she could raise me at least with a decent living, let's say. 2 years later, I also, by the way, had 4 siblings from my father's side. She had 4 children before me with a different mother.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that you can understand what kind of person my father was with the gambling and the stuff. So you can assume that some of the children kind of grew up more similar to him, right? So my oldest brother was really into that like more nightlife stuff. So when I was 10 years old, he got assassinated.
Oh. What?
Yeah.
By who?
Yeah. We don't know. All we know is that he owed money. That's all we know.
Oh.
We never learned who did it. And yeah. So now the issue was that was the brother that I was, let's say, the closest with. I would like see him like once every week, maybe 10 days. And it was scary for me because now in my mind, I was like, okay, what if they come for me next? I mean, they didn't get their money. So what if they like kidnap me, try to kill me or something like that? Maybe, maybe I'm next. So as a 10-year-old child, I had to live with that shit every single day. which made me, I don't even know how to describe it, but immune to fear. Because I'm like, oh, you know what? There's nothing I can do. So, if it happens, it happens. There's nothing I can do about it. That was my mentality after being scared for like a month, like a year or something. I eventually was like, you know what? If it happens, it happens. I don't care. My life already sucks. I'm crying like most of the day, most of the weeks, because like my father is calling me. He's calling my mom a slut. He's degrading me, calling me useless. He's calling me like.
And then
You can believe
how
it.
would you usually
Yeah.
respond to that when he's like
I would
threatening?
cry.
You would just cry.
I would cry. I would cry. I was terrified.
Yeah.
I was crying so much. Yeah. But on the bright side, like for my adult life, I feel like that really helped me because I cried and I was scared so much back then. But right now, nothing feels scary. Or
Yeah, you grew
like
thick skin
even if
from
some
that.
like even if something like really bad or terrible happens, I really don't give a shit. I've faced worse, That's something that many people ask me in my comments, like, aren't you scared doing these videos? Aren't you like whatever? My real response is no. Like, that's the easy mode. I've done the hard mode earlier on, especially when I was like a fragile kid or whatever. So now it's the easy mode.
That's so interesting. Huh. How else do you think all that like affected your perception on, YouTube and like success growing up? The scary dad.
Yeah, so when I was 13, I believe, hold on, it was around 13, I started working because I had like to help my mom and stuff because we were still broke as shit. So I would pick up a job where I had to like carry bags of building materials like cement, metals and stuff like that. So that caused me to kind of fuck up my wrists because I had to carry heavy stuff as a kid. So that also taught me that making money is not easy. You gotta work for it. But also that thing kind of put me into a mentality where I was completely fine with working, and I transcended that into my adult life, and that's why right now I work unironically like 14 hours a day. Basically, if I'm awake, I'm working. And I'm completely fine with it. I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, so you built that discipline from when you were just a kid at 13.
Yeah. I feel like that really affected me in a positive way. That's why I said that even though this sucks, I'm glad it happened because I wouldn't be who I am today without it.
That's a good mentality.
Yeah. I'm just sitting very like, I'm just touching the surface on each like age, how do you say it?
Age range.
I'm just touching the surface on each age segment, let's say.
Yeah.
So if you want me to dive deeper into anything else, you just let me know.
Yeah.
So around 15 years old, that's where I started to kind of really want to be some kind of entertainer. I genuinely was having fun, like doing any kind of entertainment.
And where did that come from? Like your need to entertain?
I don't know why, but when I was making like the YouTube videos for my gaming videos, I used to I used to do either comedy or like skill display montages, right? And I was really enjoying doing the comedy. Like when people would watch it and they would laugh, I would really get satisfaction from that.
So were you trolling online usually?
Yeah, it's either like a sketch, a trolling, whatever. It could be anything. As long as it's funny, I would probably do it. So I would get like a weird amount of satisfaction for it. So I'm like, okay, I want to build onto it. And then I was keep doing like funny stuff, let's say. Nothing really worked until more of my adult years, but I'll keep that for later. Around 15 years old, as I said, that thing really kicked in. And for some reason, my big goal, let's say in my mind, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a Hollywood actor or something like that.
Oh, so you do
But
want to. Okay.
Yeah, but imagine I had that mentality as a 15-year-old who is basically in buttfuck nowhere, right? I'm in Cyprus, an island that most people don't even know where that is. And here the mentality is very close-minded. So if you say to anyone you want to be something big, they're most likely going to make fun of you, or you're like, okay, you're delusional, you know?
Right.
Nobody's gonna believe in you. That's just how it is. And to whoever I spoke with, like, and told them that I had like big goals and stuff, everyone would make fun of me, and they was like, bro, be realistic. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And ironically, the only person who didn't make fun of me was my dad.
Oh,
You would expect.
Oh wait, so you're still in
Yeah.
contact? You were still in contact with
Yeah,
your dad?
we are in contact, but we're on medium terms. You know, we're maybe like a few times a month. Like, hi, you doing good? Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Like on very medium kind of terms, you know. So I told him, and his response was like, "Oh, I don't see why that's not doable. You just find someone who is where you want to be. You break down every single attribute that they have, and you figure out a way to surpass those. And you have zero reason not to be where he is. Simple as that."
So who did you
I
use
was
as that template?
That's the thing. I wasn't entirely sure, but in my mind, I was like, wait, that actually makes it seem so easy. You know? I was like, okay, even if I want to be a freaking like Hollywood actor, it's not. It doesn't sound so impossible anymore. Like, okay, let's say if I have the acting skill of, let's say, I'll just use a random example. Let's say if I have the body of Stallone when he was like doing Rocky or whatever, his acting skill, and I could also write a script as well as he did, so that's why he like sold it and played it in it, whatever. Why couldn't I be in that position? That was kind of my mentality. So I'm like, okay, I just have to improve in every single thing that I can improve. Eventually, I'll get to where I want. It's really not that complicated. Anyhow, that didn't really go that well because I started writing scripts, like for movies. When I was 15, I learned how to script write, yeah. And even though I believed at the time that they were good, to whoever I showed them, like to my teachers and stuff, they would be impressed, but then they would do nothing with it. That's the funny part. They were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We could do so much with it. I can talk to some people, blah, 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 blah. Nothing. Anyhow, the years passed. At 18 years old, we have a mandatory army service in Cyprus. So we need to serve for 14 months in the army. And at that point, overall, my life was pretty shitty because, as I told you, nothing was going fine. As I said before, broke, 0-0. So at the time, I also never had a girlfriend or whatever. And I enrolled into the army. I was also fat because of my depression, let's say. All I did the whole time that I had, let's say, free time, I would just play video games. Because I would either work or play video games.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do anything else because I just felt so bad. And let's say video games most likely were my only kind of relief. And so I got really fat. I weighed about 65 pounds more than what I weigh now, roughly. Yeah, if the math is correct.
How many pounds are you?
Okay, I need to do it in pounds. So I am 180 in centimeters, which is 5'11", if I'm not mistaken, in American, roughly. Yeah. And I was 105 kilos, roughly, which should translate to 200 and... actually, you know what? I can just Google it. Hey, Siri.
So it's like
how many pounds is 105 kilos? Okay, Siri just completely ignored me. It's fine. 105 kilos, 2 pounds. 231.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
I mean, it's not too far considering that you had muscle. I had zero muscle. So I was like chubby as shit, you know?
Yeah.
And then I dropped all the way to 160.
So how did you drop that weight? And why? And when?
So, yeah, I was in the army. It was around Christmas time. And we had like this place where when you don't really have anything to do, when you're not assigned to guard anything, you just kind of sit there, eat, and pass your time with the other soldiers. So I was sitting and I was looking around me, and I just saw a bunch of people who literally did nothing with their lives, were just sitting, smoking, eating shitty food. And then I kind of looked at myself, and I see like this, what I thought to myself, I am a complete disappointment. And I felt so bad. There were no way to describe how bad I felt. I felt like such a complete loser. Immediately, I just went out in the night. It was also like Christmas, summer, so it was winter. I just went up the hill and I started doing push-ups.
So you
Just like that.
you lost how much is that? Over 50 pounds doing push-ups?
Over.
Yeah.
Kinda. Because what I did is that I went outside. I had zero knowledge on any kind of working out. So I would go up the hill, do push-ups, crunches, whatever I could think of, whatever I had, let's say, some kind of knowledge on. And yeah, it was also cold as fuck, so I would wear like a balaclava that you can see just the eyes, gloves, everything. And everybody thought that I went mental, you know? Everybody was like, bro, are you okay? What is wrong with you? What are you doing?
Right.
Do you need a psychologist or something? I'm like, no, I'm good. Anyhow, months passed. I used to do that every single day. In the meanwhile, I would study like fitness on the internet and everything. I would watch a million videos. I would read articles, anything you can imagine to get knowledge like as to how the body works. And eventually, with all that knowledge and just being consistent on it, I lost all that weight in 6 months, roughly.
Did you start getting kind of addicted to the fitness then after that?
Yes. 100%. Because the moment I stepped out of the army, I would be in the gym 4, maybe 5 hours every single day. And I achieved a really insane physique. Like I could do insane stuff back then. I mean, I could easily climb a rope while holding an L seat and having weight on my legs.
So
I could easily
you were
do that.
really, really fit.
Yeah, because I would do nothing else. That was just the way I treat YouTube now, that I do it 14 hours a day and I do nothing else. For me, that was the fitness back then. I would just do that. I had nothing else to do.
So you kind of enjoy just like pouring everything about yourself into one thing in your life.
Yeah, I am kind of addicted, let's say, to trying and being the best at something.
So fast
So-
forward, and now you're doing
Fast
content
forward.
creation.
Yeah, we're almost
what
getting there. We're really close.
Yeah. So what did you start with?
So I just need like a really small window because it's a really important window.
Yeah.
Right after the army, I went into university, which is like 4 years. And at the same time, I also enrolled into college. So I was going to university and college at the same time on 2 completely different things. I would be doing fitness in college because I was like, okay, I already have like a bunch of knowledge. I might as well like get a paper that shows that I have the knowledge so I can like work something that's related to fitness. And also in the university, I was studying internet media studies kind of thing, which there is not a really easy way to explain it, but out of it, you can come out as editor, journalist, things like that, social studies, things like this. So it did help me to some extent on doing YouTube because you have to deal with people. Anyways,
What did you
I
learn
finished the fitness thing.
in the media with people?
In the media, well, obviously some copywriting, let's say, titles, stuff like that. I did learn some editing. I mean, I already knew a lot of editing because I've been doing it for years, but on some specific softwares that I've never used at the time, I did learn some stuff. Also, I did have a lot of lessons that had to do with psychology, stuff like that.
What about psychology?
that-
Like, have you been using now?
So how people form an opinion about something, let's say. Okay? And there is like a bunch of parameters that I don't really know where I would have found about them, let's say, but we had a lot of lessons that had to do with how do people form an opinion, how to actually read analytics on how people think about something. And we just go a lot into depth as to how a human thinks. So that also really helped me to understand how people perceive a piece of content and what kind of action they will take based on what they watched.
Okay. Okay. And then you start content creation after that.
Yes and no. I was on my final year of university. And what happened is I was also working full-time on a 5-star hotel as a fitness trainer back then because I got my paper and everything. But as I was doing that, I found out about a YouTuber who at the time had 5,000 subscribers. The name is Arak.
Iraq?
I don't know if
Eric?
Arak. Yeah, I don't know if you know that guy.
Mm-mm.
Right now he has like 15 million subs, whatever.
Mhm.
And I don't know why. It was like really weird. It was in around 2020. He had 5,000 subscribers, as I said. And for some reason, something about him really inspired me. I don't know why or how, but it really felt like, you know what? Whatever this guy is doing, I want to be doing it.
What was he doing?
He was doing like real life like challenges and stuff, but it was really different from other YouTubers at the time. It gave you a really different feeling. I don't know how to explain it. At the time, it felt really genuine and everything, and really interesting. So I was like, okay, whatever this guy is doing, I want to do. And he also talked about how he gave up on a lot of stuff in order to try and achieve it. And he would eventually like succeed. But at that time, I was really inspired for some reason. So you know what? I was like, if that guy is doing it, I really feel like I should be doing it as well. So I go to my university and I'm like, boys, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. I go to my job and I'm like, boys, I'm out. I'm not doing it. I gave up on everything. I had like 180 subscribers, 200 subscribers at the time. And I gave up on everything you can imagine at the time just to go full-time YouTube. I'm going to be like, okay, I'll make it no matter what. I don't care. It's going to happen one way or another. Everybody was considering me a complete idiot. I broke ties with family members because of it, because they wouldn't agree with what I did. They consider me a complete idiot, like you're gonna fail, we don't believe in you, go back to university, get a paper, get a job, all that stuff. And I'm like, you don't believe in me? That's fine, fuck off, don't speak to me again, I'll make it. And I started making videos, as I said, everything you can imagine, until eventually one day I just tried the Omegle fake girl thing. And instead of getting 100 views on my video, I got 300 views on my video, which for me was big back then. I was like, that's 3 times the views that I was getting before. Like for me, that was insane.
Can you walk me through really quick what the beginning stages of your content looked like?
As I said, everything you can imagine. I would do, as I said, gaming. Then I would try and make like short films. I would do like comedy sketches. I would do fitness tutorials. I would do. I have so many examples. I have them unlisted on my channel still. Hold on. Let me just go all the way back. It's gonna be quite a while. But you kind of get the point. Anything I considered funny, I would do it. As anything from music to whatever.
So how much time did you spend in like each video when you were first starting?
I would spend a couple of days every single time. But just so you get the point, I'll read you just the titles of the videos. Okay, so you see how irrelevant they are to each other. So the first video is Man's Not Cold parody, which is the Big Shaq Man's Not Hot parody, right? The next one is a short film. The next one is a challenge that had to do again with filmmaking, whatever. Then we did a sketch as to how the world reacts to coronavirus. Then I did a challenge of doing 3,000 push-ups in 24 hours.
You should like make a playlist of all your old videos just so that they're relatively accessible.
I don't know. I cringe looking at them in all honesty. So yeah.
What do you cringe about?
I don't know. It's just it feels bad. Like I look at this video, and I'm like, bro, I made that. That sucks.
Yeah. So what improved then?
I'll let you know immediately. So as I said, here are my first videos. It got 300 views instead of 100. I was like, damn, this is big. Let's try it again. I do it again, 500 views. I'm like, bro, this is insane. It's working. 500 views. I had like 300 subscribers. I was like,
so at this point, are you already Natalia?
No, I didn't have a name or anything. Okay. I just did that random, like I just put on a wig, some makeup with a tutorial I found on the internet. And I was like, yeah, you know.
So what got you to the point like, oh, maybe I should dress up like a girl?
I told you, because I was making so much different content, nothing was working. And eventually one day I watched this one YouTube video of Nat, that was the name of the guy. And he did the fake girl omegle thing. And I found it funny. So I'm like, oh, that's funny. I should try it.
Okay.
That was basically it.
Okay. So you're like inspired by another.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the third video happened something insane. I did one of the most viral clips I could say on the internet by accident. It's a clip that has over 1 billion views. And I made it completely by accident. So on my third video, I had these random Indian guys who randomly show up on my screen with a photo, not even a fake camera, of a girl, and they pull it back and they're like, surprise! And at the time, my girlfriend was calling me, so you can see me holding my phone. And I wasn't even thinking of it, I just do this. Surprise! And you can see them like their face falling off. And I didn't even consider it that great of a clip at the time, so I put it randomly at the end of the video. But then I posted that clip on TikTok. Again, I had like 1,000 followers, maybe on TikTok at best. That clip got 1 million views in 2 hours.
Oh,
I
wow.
was losing my I was losing my shit because I had never seen numbers like that. Next day, it went like to 10 million views on my TikTok. And everything started exploding. And I was like, what did I just do? How did this happen? Like, I used to struggle to get like 10, 20 subscribers. And now my YouTube grew to like to 2,000 subscribers out of this one clip. And all my socials did a relative job. For example, I got to 10,000 from 1,000 on TikTok, which for me was insane back then. And I randomly started seeing that clip everywhere. I would see people would tag me on Reels, TikToks, anything you can imagine, people would tag me on it and it would get so many views. And I would be pissed about it because my thing got 10 million views. And I would see a repost of mine having 30 million views. Then I would see a reel having 60 million views.
Yeah.
And that would happen so often, it would piss me off. I'm like, bro, fuck, how do I actually transfer the traffic to me? Then I would start seeing that videos like on React channels, in compilations. Like even now on my Instagram, that I posted it, that I basically reposted it. If you go to my Reels right here on the corner, wait, oh, that's the camera I'm using. It has 50 million views. Just this one reel on this account.
Yeah.
It has like it used to have 60 million on another. So I can tell you altogether it was easily over 1 billion views.
Yeah.
And that's what actually opened my mind to you know what? I can actually make this work and much better than I can imagine. So I'm like, okay, how do I improve this so much? I need to improve it. And I kind of thought, okay, what are the aspects that I can improve it? Most of those people who make those jokes, the jokes goes as follows. I'm a girl, boom, I'm a guy, joke ends.
Right.
So I was like, what if I add more depth to it? What if I make a fake Instagram account? What if I give the character a name so it gives depth for the other person to believe that this is like a real girl or whatever? And that really worked because it gave my conversations more length and more reactions, let's say, because I was giving things for people to react to, if that makes sense. So that started giving me some traffic. I would grow like to 10, 20,000 subscribers. So I was doing relatively okay for what I thought I could do at the time. And then I was like, okay, how do we improve this even more? I need to improve the voice. I need to improve the looks. I need to improve basically I broke it down. What is every single element of this prank that makes it funnier? So obviously one was the looks, one was the voice, one was the background of the character, one was what kind of jokes I could pull off. Yeah.
So when you're like doing this breakdown, are you literally like just sitting at your computer and just analyzing like every single video that you do and then like, oh, how can I make this funnier?
Correct.
Okay.
So I would sit down and analyze everything, what I can do better to a point that no one else can replicate it. It's so good that it cannot be replicated. That was my goal. So I did a few improvements here and there. I did improve the voice. I did improve the look because I started using like optical illusions with shadows and stuff. So the look did improve a little bit, but not as far to a point where I thought it would be that great. And eventually, all in all, I grew roughly to 50,000 subscribers. I was still getting barely any money. I was getting like $300 a month or something like that. And I had, prior to me getting 50,000 subscribers, 1 year ago, I did join ARRAC's course, which back then was called Creator Now. I don't really know what's going on with that right now. But thing is, I joined the call. He was in the call, and I'm like, bro, I will be big. Trust, believe in me, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I told him that I quit everything just to become a YouTuber. Trust me, I will be. He's like, okay, bro, I do believe in you. And after a year later, I reached 50K, which for me back then was a pretty good accomplishment. So I decided to travel to America to celebrate his 10 million subscriber benchmark. What is the word?
Milestone?
Anyway, yeah, milestone. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. So I traveled to America for the first time to celebrate his 10 million milestone, like greet him in person, tell him thank you, all that stuff. And how I did is, again, I analyzed every single podcast he has been on, everything he said on videos, that how he wants to be approached, let's say. So I would create a situation where it's really good for him in that aspect. So, for example, I saw him in some videos talking about how he likes people who are witted. So I'm like, okay, I will through what I'm gonna do, I'm also gonna show how that I'm smart or whatever. So I sat down and literally calculated based on how many subscribers he gets every time he uploads a video and everything. 3 months prior, wait, it was 3 months. I did that in July, August, and he got that in October. So yeah, around 3 months. I knew 3 months ahead of time when he's gonna hit 10 million. So I booked my flights on the exact week he would hit that. And I was 100% correct. That's the funny part.
How did you do those analytics?
I don't even know how to explain it. I would literally go into his like analytics on Social Blade and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, what's the average spike when he uploads something, how often he uploads, shit like that. And I got it right, surprisingly. So I go to America with the hope that if I post enough stories, stuff like that, that I'm coming from the other side of the world, just to have like 3 fucking minutes with you, that he would respond. On the contrary, everything went terribly wrong. No one was responding. No one was giving a shit. And I did everything that he said in the podcasts. So that made 0 sense, you know? I'm like, okay, that's what you say you want in the podcast. But when I do it, I get absolutely nothing for it. So how does that make sense? I was really confused. And everyone around his team started to block me, which was killing my morale. Oh, keep in mind, I am broke as fuck. I used my last money just to get to America because I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna meet this man no matter what. And I was broke as fuck. I was borrowing money from people just to be able to afford like a hostel at $30 per day. And no one would respond. And I started like being fearful, like what is going on? What did I do wrong? Like I did everything according to what was said. And spoiler alert, that specific person later on, like 2 years after this, got exposed for faking his videos, his personality and everything. So yeah, that kind of makes sense now.
What does that mean, like faking his videos?
Yeah, so he would, for example, he would say, I would go and do charity in this town, right?
Oh, okay.
And he would never go to that town to go charity, but he would pretend in the video as he is there, you know?
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, oh, he's faking everything. Oh, that makes sense. So yeah, anyways, long story short, I did everything. I got completely heartbroken, let's say, because I was blocked by everyone. I lost all my money and that gave me 0 results. I came back to Cyprus. I was in debt for thousands and thousands of dollars. And I was sitting on my bed like, what am I gonna do? I was feeling unironically depressed for the first time after I don't even know how long. And I was really trying to figure out the solution. And I'm like, okay, I need to blow up and I need to blow up now. Like I don't have an option. So I sat down and did exactly the same thing I did last time. What's every single attribute my videos have that I can improve to the absolute maximum that they cannot be replicated. And I figure out a way to make my look as much as I can the best. The voice, the jokes, the depth of the character. I literally put so much effort into the socials of the character, into everything, that the next video I uploaded on that, it got 1 million views in a few days.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's funny because I even made a community post about it before posting it. If you go to my channel right now, you will find it. I say something along the lines of the next video is gonna be the best ever on my channel, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I was completely right because it got
What
1 million views in
exactly
a
did
few
you
days.
change about that? That like you think made
Everything.
it?
Everything. I made the look 10 times better. I would look exactly like a girl, but then the lighting, everything would be so perfect that I would look fucking huge.
So do you
So
think
the reaction would...
do you think that a lot of the YouTube videos that you make, that like the most important thing is the aesthetic?
It's the combination. Like every single thing adds up. It's like imagine having 20 things that add 5%.
Right.
If you have all those 20 perfect, you're at 100%.
But it was an Omegle video, right?
Yeah, it was an Omegle video, and it blew up to 1 million views almost immediately. And my numbers starting at like pumping up fairly quickly. I grew like to 78K fairly quickly. So I'm like, you know what? The next one is gonna be even better. I doubled down. I like put a lot of thought on my jokes. I would put way too many hours. I would record 10 hours every day, just so I can get the perfect clips.
So okay. So the key to
And
like
yeah.
Omegle is just doing it for a really, really long time.
Yeah, but you also need to be able to be, like, let's say, quick-witted, to know what to respond, how to make the most out of every situation and stuff like that. So what happened next was unreal, honestly, because in 2 months, I went from having 70K subscribers to being like to 300K in 2 months. And not just that, my TikTok grew from 100K to over 1 million. My Instagram in those 2 months grew from 20K to 300K. Everything was exploding like crazy because I made just one thing: shareable and repostable videos. That was my goal. The only thing that beats the algorithm is shareability. That was my goal too.
So
If I can make the...
Yeah, so what aspects are you focusing on when you're trying to make this shareable? Like what exactly does that mean?
Well, first of all, I always needed a good hook, because the moment I hook the person, they're gonna watch it. Then I had to make an escalation of events that the person would never expect. So, you know how they meme about this went from 0 to 100 in like a second? That was my goal. Like, I need a hook, and then I need something to happen that the person is gonna go like, hey, yo, what the fuck? And then I need to deliver with a punchline. So, and that for me was like the perfect video, let's say. If I have all those aspects in a single video, the person will watch it, will get hooked, and they're gonna be like, what the fuck? My body is has to watch this. Bam, share.
Can you give an example exactly of like what you thought a good hook was, what the escalation was, and then what the punchline was?
That's the thing. It doesn't matter exactly, because every single situation was different, right?
But in ones that you noticed went viral for you, what was the hook, etc.?
Okay. Okay, so I'll give you my most viral clip at the time that literally got so many hundreds of millions that just because I put my, how do you call it, my name on the screen, that's what brought all the traffic in. I would later on find that video on Twitter getting millions, on Reddit getting millions, everywhere. So there was this one guy who immediately, as soon as he sees me, he's like, if you're gay right now and you're doing this, you're gay, okay? And I'm in the girl voice, I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. And then immediately he asked me, do you have OnlyFans? So it's like, it's a really quick escalation of events in like 2 seconds. And then I do the reveal telling him yes, which again, imagine if the first time you see me, first you just see this guy like giving a really energetic reaction. And also that guy had a really particular face, let's say. He was really good on camera, if that makes sense. So the aesthetic was there, the joke was there, then the escalation was there. Because if you see me the first time and you have no idea who I am, you would say, okay, average e-girl, whatever. And then I pull up this. you would be like, oh, what the fuck? That's the escalation I was talking about. And then the punchline was like, he asked me, you have OnlyFans? And I'm like, of course, my brother. And he's like, wait, really? And then you can see me like going into his PC and he's like, and that's where the video ends. So that video itself is so dumb, but it checks all the points, let's say, which just makes the video amazingly shareable, watchable, everything. And that's the first clip that blew so much that it gave me so many like new viewers. It was insane. So fast forward, I'm getting really close to later on. Then I had eventually just did this for a couple of more months. I grew all the way to almost 800,000 subscribers in basically less than a year, right?
Right.
And
wow.
and I created accidentally.
Were you hard focusing more on like TikTok and YouTube? Like, is there a difference between both?
Everything. I would post on every single platform I can.
And did you notice a difference in like the audience between them?
Yes, kinda. On TikTok was going insane. It doesn't matter how many accounts I did, it would always blow up insanely much. Because I used to get banned a lot, but I would grow accounts to 1 million followers really quickly.
My TikTok got banned too. They just randomly ban things. So how did you?
Yeah, I know.
How did you pick that back up?
I would simply make more videos, new clips, and I would do it exactly the same. Because as I said, I would follow the exact same formula of like hook, shareability, everything. So it would just pick up naturally again to 1 million followers. I would get banned again. I would be like, oh, come on, man. Do it over again. And yeah, it would happen over and over again. But the thing is that around 800K, I did two things. Just a little bit before, I made one very dumb meme across the internet that blew me up. The Indian Rizzler meme.
Okay.
Which is like a rap battle, which is just 1 minute long. But it has such an amazing hook that people would share it and it would blow up. I think it's the most viewed video on my channel right now, that one. Because basically it's a rap battle that imitates my Omegle interactions. Because some of my best interactions were with Indians. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a rap battle where I imitate that in the forms of epic rap battles of history.
So was that video like you versus some Omegle person?
Well, not an Omegle person, but he was supposed to be someone who represents an Omegle person. Because I just found the person who was like Indian, and I'm like, bro, you wanna film a video or something like that? He was like, sure, bro.
So was it like pre-written before that, like the whole freestyle?
Yeah, obviously it was at my it was on my house on a green screen and everything. Like we did it as better as I can. But imagine you scroll on TikTok and you see a rap battle where it's this like cute gamer girl, whatever, and an Indian dude who's like racing, and the first line you hear is, "Oh my God, such beautiful lady, you come from heaven. Wanna be my baby? I think I'm in love. I'ma go in. But first, please show your bobs and vagine."
Okay.
Like that was the bar. That was the bar.
Yeah.
That was the hook. Like that bar went viral as shit. It would go on on Know Your Meme, something like that, which is like a meme website, whatever. It would get uploaded everywhere. It could become a meme template basically. That would get in again hundreds of millions of views on TikTok, which would give me millions of views on YouTube. Now, around 800K followers, which is where the real fun starts, because that's where I started the IRL videos.
Yeah.
And the way I did that was pretty, let's say, the timing was perfect. Because I was going to pick up my girlfriend. She was waiting next to a bus stop or whatever. And she would just sit there. I was like 10 minutes away in car. All cool. It was broad daylight, by the way. Sunday, around 3 p.m. And the moment I picked her up, she tells me, "Oh my God, those two guys were like, they would come and sit next to me and they would like try to get me like to talk to them, like grab a drink with them all the time. That was so annoying." And I was like, wait, does that really actually happen like that much? Like it's broad daylight. You would tell them like, no, leave, and they would just stay there. And she was like, yeah, you have no idea how often that happens. And she was like, why do you think I don't walk alone at night? And then I was like, oh, Is that so? So in my mind, I'm like, so you're telling me that's like a really big issue, right? That's something that really happens to women. And me as a guy, I had basically no knowledge that happens, because I take as example myself, like, okay, if I'm gonna go and talk to a girl, if she tells me leave, I'm gonna leave. So, what kind of person would just sit there and harass? So that makes no sense to me. But she was like, yeah, that happens really often, etc., etc. And I'm like, that would be an amazing video if I make them feel as uncomfortable as the girl. That was really my thought behind it. And I'm like, I really don't know if I can even pull this off. Is it even possible? Like, will I pass as a girl so much outdoors that they will A, approach me, B, flirt with me so much, and C, actually I will be able to scare them back? Is that even possible? I was like, I mean, I could try. So I go out first night. Again, I didn't know exactly how to manipulate the camera angles and overall like my body with the clothes and everything to make it seem as feminine as possible. So I go out, I would wear like a fair kind of thing. So I was like, okay, if I wear something that looks big, they might think it's just like a winter cloth and I'm not big, That was my logic behind it. I would walk outside for like 2-3 hours. Absolutely nothing would happen. My hopes did drop a lot because I'm like, bro, I've been walking for
No
2,
guys
3
are
hours.
hitting on you. I'm so sad.
No one. Yo, I was like, is this like, okay, I get it. I don't look as much as a girl, like, but is this even possible? And as I was thinking, and I was on comms with my cameraman because like he's sitting far away with like a telescopic lens, and I am on comms with him through an earpiece I have on me, and I see this Arab dude who looks at me. He's like, "Oh, come sit."
Mhm.
And I was like, wait, what do I do? And I'm like, you know what? I've been working for 3 hours. I don't give a shit. I'll go sit. So I go sit next to him. And immediately he's like, oh, you want to smoke something with me? I'm like, no. Oh, and he's like, he just, come on. Then he sits a little bit awkwardly. I'm sitting there awkwardly as well. I'm like, what the fuck what am I doing? Like, is this even gonna work? What the fuck am I doing? And then this guy just asked me, can I kiss you? And he goes for the kiss. I was shocked because I'm like, yo, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, does this shit actually happen? And I'm like, I go back, I'm like, no. And he's like, come on, one kiss. And he goes again. I'm like, no. Then he comes even closer to me and he's like, again, just one kiss. And I just stand up and I'm like, bro, I said, no, what don't you understand? bro, that guy shit his pants and he started running and screaming. And at that point, I just turn away, I walk away, and you can hear me on the mic talking to my cameraman. I'm like, bro, this is just, bro, you see what happened? Tell me you got that. I beg you, tell me you got that. And he's like, I got all of it. I'm like, there's no way. We go to the parking, check the clip, and we're like, bro, that's insane. Did this just really happen? And stuff like that. Anyways, I walk again for the whole night for like 5-6 hours more till 2-3 a.m. I guess. And we got like 3-4 more clips, which again, they're pretty crazy. And I went home and I'm like, that's fucked up. Because I simply go home and I'm like, bro, what kind of people are out there? That's fucked up.
Were you ever scared, like, doing these things? Like, they're gonna, like, punch you or something? Or is it, like, you're usually bigger than them, or?
I mean, I am usually bigger than them, but I figured out that the best way to go about these things is to show them that you are crazier than them. Because if they think that, okay, this guy is more out of control than I am, they're going to be more scared to try anything. So so if anything goes at least a little bit wrong, I try to look as much as a complete idiot and psycho at the same time as I possibly can. Because they simply don't want to mess with me if that's the case.
Yeah.
So I go home, I get these clips, I'm like, yo, I don't even know, I've never seen these videos on the internet. I go on YouTube, I write fake girl in public prank, nothing. A woman in public prank, nothing. I search all these keywords, I get 0 results, and I'm like, fuck, no one on the internet is doing this. I just pulled off something no one on the internet is doing. So I upload those videos. It was the biggest success I have ever seen. The views were skyrocketing. The videos, everyone was sharing that. Like the clips would get millions, 10 million views, 20 million views. I was like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. Because A, it's funny. B, it shows a social problem that I can actually show through comedy. C, it's gonna be shareable as fuck because it's something no one has ever seen, so it's original. D, it's shareable because most women will actually show to guys that, you see, that's the shit that happens. It's true, it's real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's amazing. I'll do it again. I do it again, same result. And there are a few nights where when I was walking outside and doing these videos, that I thought to myself, like, that's beyond fucked up. Like, how do people act like this? Like, I would refuse to believe it because I'm a guy who's like 25 years old and I've never seen that kind of behavior from anyone.
Yeah.
Because those people usually do it to girls, especially when there isn't anyone around to protect them or something. So I was like really opened to a whole new world to see.
Okay. So what parts of your comedy do you think like align well with the internet versus don't align well?
So I'll start with the easy one, which is the ones that don't align well. You know, many people and people in general, many of the times will try and find something to blame you, you know, in terms of something to call you out on, or will find something to be irritated or offended by. Okay?
Right. And
I
is that
try
when you
to.
like got banned on TikTok? Like it's because people are getting offended?
That's my only assumption, to be honest. It could be something else, I don't know, but if I had to assume, that I guess would be it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that I make it crystal clear that it's basically comedy. Whatever I say, do whatever, it's for the jokes. And I most of the time place my jokes in a context that you need to be the complete idiot to understand that I'm not joking at that point, you know?
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'll just say one very obvious one. I will be like dressed as a girl outside and I jump scare someone, right? And then he's like, "Bro, are you gay?" And I look at them straight in the eyes while being dressed as a girl. I'm like, "Gay? No, bro, ew." Like you need to understand. You need to be a complete moron to understand that's not like self-sarcasm and comedy. You know, you need to be a complete moron. But some people somehow still is like, "Whoa, he said ew." Like, you know, it makes no sense. Like it's obvious that I'll just say it to confuse the other person, and not because I mean it. Like,
Yeah. So did you come across like those challenges on the internet?
Yeah, I've seen people like that, but at that point, they just understand that those people will never be happy with anything, because if you get offended by something which is crystal clear that it's just comedy and it's just to be there to confuse the person you're talking with, then there is nothing I can do to help you, bro.
Yeah, that's good.
But the things that they do align, I feel like I am one of the few creators which are willing to go the extra mile for pretty much any piece of content I am doing. And that's, I feel like, something that the viewers do appreciate. Because, I don't know why, but lately I've been feeling that many YouTube videos are just boring, because I just feel like I'm watching the same thing, just recycled, you know?
Yeah. Like, what do you find boring about those videos?
Like, I feel like, okay, an idea gets viral and everyone starts doing it, but instead of making a better version of it, they just create a worse version of it. And that's just an escalation which really turns YouTube into a boring platform. Because, for example, you will see Mr. Beast making a video with $1 million budget, and then you will see 1,000 other YouTubers just copying the personality, the video, everything on a lower budget. Like, of course, you're gonna do it worse, right? So instead of having originality and creativity, you just have people compete as to who can drain more money. Which makes the platform more boring, in my opinion. So I try to do things that other people would simply be either afraid to do or would consider too much work to do. And that's actually one of the things that I get called out a lot, because everyone is like, bro, there is no way you put so much effort in it. Like, you have to be gay, trans, or something. There is no way you put so much effort into dressing up and you do it for so long, blah, 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 blah. Because, you know why? They're used to people being lazy, and no one would actually sit and commit on their content for a long period of time and put a lot of effort into it. So that's also one of the things that I feel like, especially my IRL stuff, it's not replicate, like they're not easy to replicate. Actually, they're almost impossible to replicate.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. There's not a lot of like buff dudes that are willing to cross dress.
It's not even just that, because you need to be a buff dude who's willing to cross dress, but also at the same time pass enough as a girl, both in the voice, both in the voice, on the face, at the same time being able to act like really feminine and stuff, which obviously a buff dude would be very likely not be willing to do, right? At the same time, you need to be able to be like quick-witted, to think of really, let's say, smart on the spot responses, because I feel like most of my clips are because I make the conversation so unreal in terms of like, you watch and they're like, bro, this makes no sense. Like, how is this even actually happening? There's no way this is happening, you know? So that's also like, there are so many requirements per se that I feel it's not replicatable.
So your tip to YouTubers would be, if you're going to copy something, do it better, or if or just get something original. Yeah,
either copy something but change it so much that it's original, or if you're gonna copy, just make it better. Because realistically speaking, it's common sense. If you're gonna do something which is the same as something else, then why would I watch you instead of the other person who did better? It makes no sense, right?
Are there like just like little intricate details that like increase the views or the algorithm or anything that you've noticed?
Well, realistically, I try and, when it comes to every piece of content, I try to put myself in front, and I would ask myself, would I watch this? No. Why? So I feel like most of the mistakes that people do is actually, let's say, yapping too much, because they add completely irrelevant stuff to the video that have zero purpose to be there. For example, if someone, let's say, pressed on my video, I went to the most dangerous place in Greece, they would expect me to start the video and the whole context is about that, right? If I start doing completely irrelevant side quests, it just makes the video boring, because I have seen, especially YouTubers in Greece, who did similar videos. And I'll just give you an example. It's a 25-minute video of a YouTuber who's actually big here. And out of the 25 minutes, the 16 minutes, he spent them to prepare to go to the dangerous place. And the video is called "I Survive in the Most Dangerous Place for 24 Hours. Like,
so it's misleading.
It's not just misleading. Like, I press on it and I need to wait 16 minutes for you to just get there. Like, bro, what are you doing? Of course I'm going to click off.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
It's really simple stuff. Like, if you're going to name your video something, do that, stick to that, and just leave the things inside that serve some kind of purpose for that video.
Are there any other details that other creators miss that you've looked down?
Well,
like keywords or anything in your titles, or like the hashtags?
I don't feel like that really matters. I barely use them. I feel like the most efficient way when it comes to any kind of titling or something like that, make it as easy to understand as humanly possible while not missing the point.
Okay. And what is there any other advice that you'd like to give other creators?
I mean, each platform has their own audience, let's say. Some people use Twitter, some people use Instagram, some people use TikTok. Post on everything, something will work.
I heard that if you post like the same video on like TikTok and like Instagram or something, then like they won't promote each other.
Have you noticed that at all? That's an interesting, because I have videos which the moment I make them, like this is fire, and they explode on every single platform at the same time. But there are other videos which I'm like, okay, I feel this is good. It will explode so much on one platform and it will completely die on the others, which is kind of weird. But I guess that can be a little bit of a luck issue, you could say, because the way this social media platform works is that it's gonna test your content on a specific audience. If it performs well, it's gonna send it to more random people, right? But if those, let's say, first 1,000 people randomly happen to be not the correct audience for that specific piece of content, then it's gonna die, which is kind of unfortunate, but it will happen.
Okay. And niche wise, if like, is it once you find your niche, you should stick to that? Would you say?
Well, statistically speaking, yes, because if the people are coming to watch your videos for a specific reason, they want to watch that. You cannot be doing pranking and the next day you'll be doing cooking, right? It doesn't make sense. It's as if you're going to McDonald's to get a burger and out of nowhere their menu changes and instead of burgers, you are only able to buy veggies, right? It doesn't make sense. You get there you expect something else and you get something else. So that's kind of why I have like multiple channels in that aspect. And I try to branch out, but with relevant topics.
What other channels do you have? You have the Vlad channel.
Yeah, I do have the Vlad channel. I have a gaming channel, a React channel, and a Natalia channel, which I only do videos as the character. So I'm in character in every single video, like 100%.
I have a question about like scheduling all that. How are you doing like juggling 4 different channels?
Oh, I work 14 hours a day and I do nothing else with my life.
Do you have like a planner too? Like on this day I'm gonna do Natalia, on this day I'm gonna do gaming.
I am forced to do that eventually because the way I think of my videos is that whenever I randomly get a good idea for a channel, I just write it down. And eventually when I get like enough ideas or whatever, I just start scheduling them like, okay, I'm gonna do this day, this day, whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I kind of want to go also into the breakdown of like your videos and how you go about executing them. So let's say, do your ideas kind of just like, oh, I have a random idea while you're like watching TV?
Yeah, and that's exactly how I never actually actively look for ideas. That's my one thing. Because I feel like if it's a good idea, it's not something planned. It's something that just comes to my head. I'm like, whoa, that's actually funny. Because throughout my day, I get many random ideas. Most of them are shit, but there's gonna be that one idea per day, which I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, I should do that. For example, one of those ideas was the Indian wrestler rap battle, which as I mentioned went viral as shit and is the most viewed video on my channel. It was literally a random idea as I was walking, like doing my night walk, whatever. Randomly, I'm like, what if I turn this interaction into a rap battle?
Okay. So
Fully randomly, out of nowhere.
Any triggers that will trigger your creativity? Like you watch like your favorite show or your favorite comedian or something?
Usually I just do walking. That's it.
You just walk?
enjoy. Yeah, I just enjoy doing walking, like to burn calories, like have some kind of form of exercise at least. And while I do that, because I don't really have a lot of things on my mind that are like bothering me, my mind is clearer. My mind just starts generating random things over and over. So
you never have writer's block?
Not really, because I'm not trying to actively write something. That's the thing. They just come to me. If they're good, I just do it. If they're not good, I just throw it out the window. It's not like, okay, I need to make a video about this trend or something like that. I never do that. If an idea comes to my head, I'm like, that actually could be funny. I'll do it.
Do you, as ideas come up, do you just pull out your phone and write it in your notes app?
Yep, I have a whole note which you can keep scrolling like this and it won't end.
Okay. Okay, so that's the...
And the way I decide like which ones to do, it's more like, okay, which I think will perform well and which I think I can actually perform them well. So I'm like, okay, if I do this video, I feel like I can make it really well because I have the tools. I currently have the mentality, let's say, for it, whatever. So I'll prioritize them.
Okay. So that's the brainstorming process. What do you do next?
I kind of write down a very general storyline as to how ideally I would want the video to be. So I would take actions that would help me for that specific reason. For example, for the dangerous places in Greece, I was like, okay, we need to make it have some kind of escalation. So I'll make the intro in the safest area, let's say, but I'm still in the area. And I will start going from safe to dangerous area. I'll make that kind of escalations. I need approximately 4 or 5 interactions. I also need to show the place overall. And I need some interactions that I do not speak with the people, right? So obviously nothing is staged, but I have in my mind what kind of things I would ideally need to make a good video, which is like a rich video, let's say. So the moment, for example, I would walk in those areas and I would get, let's say, 3 interactions, I'm like, okay, I'm missing one more interaction, and then ideally I would need, for example, people looking at me, people which would behave badly but not talk to me, stuff like that, like honk at me or stuff like that. So the moment I'm done with the like long interactions, whatever, instead of like trying to force longer conversations, if I can, I will try and keep away from the people so they do some kind of interactions like catcall me or stuff like that, you know? So I'm kind of trying to push the content towards the direction I need for the video to be like a nice and rich video overall, you know?
So all the organization you just keep in your head, you don't write it down anywhere?
Yeah. Because while I'm filming, I'm also making the directing in my head. Like, okay, what am I missing? What do I need? Stuff like that. So I try to think of it like, okay, I need a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that's always count. Okay, how do I start? How do I keep the interest? And how do I close it in a way that you feel like you watched the movie that ended instead of something awkward that just ends? Unless it's just like my Omegle clips, which because there isn't really a storyline, I'm just forced to do it that way. But any other IRL video, I try to have some kind of storyline in it.
All right. So what would the ideal ending look like to you?
That's the thing.
Content.
There is not an ideal ending.
Okay.
You can, especially in videos which are not planned or staged, you can never know what's gonna happen. But for example, again, I'll use this Greece video because it's a great example of the planning I did. But because I didn't know what kind of ending I would add, I just saw a huge poster of Shrek in this dangerous area for no reason. So I'm like, you know what? I am giving all this like it's dangerous. I show how concerning it is. So then I will try and switch it up and give you the most unexpected ending. So I would narrate about how, as I was walking through these terrible neighborhoods, I saw one of the most beautiful things that I've ever saw in Athens. And that was this. And then I just switched the billboard of Shrek. And then he just winks at you. I just edit the wink and the video ends.
I remember I saw
so I
that
give
one.
you like, so I give you like a small laugh at the end.
Yeah,
So
that's so
my
cute. Okay.
punchline. I mean, it as I said, there is no ideal ending, but when I see something that I could use as an ending, I am pretty quick at identifying that, you know what, that's how I will close the video and it's gonna be like good.
Okay. And okay, so that was your execution of everything. Do you ever get like tired and just want to end?
It really depends. Because usually I'm doing like really long filming sessions. So it really depends whether I'm getting content, not getting content. Because if everything is not staged, you will never know when you're gonna get content. You might be out there like trying to film for 8 hours and you might get nothing. And then in the next 1 hour you might film a whole video. It has happened to me before. That's why I'm like, so those 8 hours while nothing happens, your morale starts to go down. Because you also try to like identify why. Am I in a wrong area? Is it something like wrong with me specifically? Like, am I not, did I fuck up something with the look? Am I doing something wrong? You know, that kind of starts to pop into my head.
How do you
So,
push yourself through that?
Usually when that happens, I'll grab a water, I'll sit for 5 minutes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going down like this, and I'll just go back to filming.
Do you think most of your filming days there's like not a wasted day ever because of that?
Oh, there are wasted days because I've had days where I filmed for like 8 hours straight, and I just ended up going home, reviewing the footage, and I'm like, you know what? This is garbage. I don't like it, and I'll just deleting the whole thing. That happened a few times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it really drops your morale, but it pushes you to do better next time.
What does your schedule look like?
I wake up, I'll probably like grab a salad or something. I get to my PC, start editing. At some point in the day, if I feel like I've done enough editing, I might get up and like maybe walk a little bit, do some workout or something like that for maybe half an hour or something. And then I'll go back to editing. And if that specific day I also have filming planned, I'll do the filming. Then after the filming, like it's usually like I film for very long hours, so 6 hours minimum, all the way to 10 hours. It really depends on the day where I am and stuff. For example, when I was in America, I would film every single day for around 12 to 13 hours. So for example, on my schedule in America, I would be like, we wake up at around 10. 11, I start getting ready. I'm ready at 12, and we go outside and we come back home at 1 a.m. We sleep, and then we repeat every single day.
Okay.
So that was, for example, what in America it looked like, but now it's mostly editing, and whenever I do have something to film, I do.
What does your like team look like? So I think you mentioned earlier you do have like other editors. How do you like go about choosing your editors?
Okay, so my team, I feel like it's not about like how many people, it's the quality of the people, obviously. So my team is all people which I've known for years, so I know their qualities, let's say. I do have one full-time editor for videos. I do have a full-time editor mostly for photos, which is also my girlfriend.
Oh, that's convenient.
So any kind of photo shoots for either the Fansly or the Instagram of Natalie or whatever I do need, that she does them. Any kind of videos, the video editor does them. I also have a full-time camera guy, which you remember the guy you saw at the TwitchCon following me.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to the full-time people which are always with me, these are they. Now I have a few freelancers that they do extra work if and when needed. But that's about it. And obviously I do contribute to every single aspect of that, because I will do editing as well. I will make the storylines, the basis of the video. I will do whatever I can, like, basically, to just add to the good production, let's say.
Oh, that's good. Do you have any like words of inspiration for fellow content creators?
Words of inspiration. Well, I don't know if they're inspirational or not, but it's that. Hold on, let me remember exactly how I said it. Is that nobody cares about you. Okay, that's the first thing that you actually need to understand. It's I know it's not very inspirational, but it's the truth that you really need to understand. In the sense that just because you made a video, it doesn't mean that it's good. It doesn't mean that it's special. It doesn't mean that people are gonna like it just because you like it or your family or your friends like them, whatever. That's one of the first things that you really, really need to understand. Because I know people, and sometimes I used to do that as well back in the days, that I would ask like people around me, and just because they're my friends, they would be like, "Oh yeah, it's good," when in reality it was actually trash, you know.
Do you think it would be solved by like not having like yes man around you?
Yeah, it's very important. Like having
Okay.
yes men around you is one of the worst things you can possibly do. And I'm telling the people around me, my girlfriend, my camera guy, like if at any point you think that I'm fucking up or something I'm doing is bad, tell me straight in the face. Like tell me this is garbage. I want to know that if you consider that. So yeah, yes man, the worst possible thing you can have. Another thing is that it really does require a lot of work. So if let's say creators are doing this just for easy money, it's really not. You're quitting the 9 to 5 to work 24/7. That's also another fact that you kind of need to accept.
Are there any like outside, not that obvious things that you do that contribute to like your like mental creativity? So like you mentioned
Mental.
like taking a walk.
Yeah, that does help. Basically, it really depends each person how they find inspiration and how they like think outside the box. For example, the most obvious example, at least, I think, is having with some way your mind completely clear. If you, my opinion is that if you think about nothing, something will force itself into your mind. Okay. So for that's
Are you
working
like
for me.
meditating?
I'm not meditating, but meditation is basically my walking, right? So because I walk, I think about absolutely nothing, and I just enjoy the silence and just me exercising or whatever, and randomly appears start to pop into my head.
Okay.
And also another thing that helps, let's say, the inspiration is the people around me. As I said, I feel like there are people who think outside the box. So I really encourage them to tell me ideas, which I scrap 90% of the ideas. But when I hear something good, I'm like, yes. Because most of the time, like I have people around me who would tell me like 20 ideas, and I might find one good. And most people will get discouraged by talking because they're like, okay, this guy is rejecting 99% of what I say. But the moment I hear something good, I'm like, yes. You know?
Do you find that you have like the best judgment in terms of good ideas because you've been creating so long?
Well, I feel like, yeah, in comparison to the people around me, because I just happen to have the most experience when it comes to actually analyzing the situations and basically everything. Because every person around me is doing something. I was forced to do all of those. Therefore, I feel like just because I have more experience, I feel like my judgment would be overall more efficient or effective most of the times. Obviously, not always, but most of the times.
So right now your content is like kind of like shock humor, trolling,
Yeah,
comedy.
yeah. Because
What do you
that's
have
my kind of thing.
planned? Yeah, what do you have planned for the future? Do you think you're gonna stick to comedy? What is your ultimate goal?
Yeah, because as a person, as I told you, I like to entertain people. I like to make people laugh. Therefore, I feel like I cannot really change my niche. It's always gonna be something that has to do with making people laugh, one way or another. Because I feel that's what I'm good at. That's what I enjoy doing.
Is there anything else you wanted to add about like just general algorithm stuff and like tips and tricks?
Uh, Let me think. Another thing that I would like just to add is, okay, it might not sound the nicest things, but I do believe that life is neither fair nor nice. Therefore, we just need to accept them, and that helps us. Is that I like to keep people around me which have vision, which do believe, and everyone who is a non-believer or something like that, I simply scrap them. Like it doesn't matter if it's family or anything like that. As I mentioned earlier on in the podcast, I had family members who like straight up, we don't believe in you. Like just go back to university, whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool, fuck off, don't talk to me again, bye, I don't care.
How is
And so I was also really lucky to have like it might be just like few people, but I'm really lucky to have people who actually did believe in me from day zero, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, they would always be there. Like my girlfriend, friends. It's not many people, but you can count them literally on one hand. But I feel like it's really important because even when I had like moments when I was feeling really down, that I sucked, that whatever I was doing was shit and I wouldn't succeed, I always had at least one person like by my side to be like, bro, you're much more than this. Like, get up. I believe in you. You know, I think like it's really important that you have at least that one person.
Yay. Well, thank you for all the tips and tricks for YouTube and for sharing your story, your very tragic but empowering story.
I mean, to be honest, it's really, I barely touched the surface, like literally barely. If that's the story, I barely did this.
But yeah, inspiring. Where can everyone find you?
Vlad NCL, all platforms. And I guess we're going to talk on the next show.
Yeah, so next time he's on, he's going to be Natalie. And he's going to be all dressed up. And we're going to talk more in depth about his personal life.
Personal stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Correct.
Well, thank you, Vlad, for coming. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you for having me. It was very nice talking to you as well.
Yay. All right.
And yeah, we cut it here, right?
Yeah. That was Real Talk with Kyootbot. Signing off. Bye-bye. Don't mean to. Crazy things that you've been doing. Can't seem to shake this feeling. Got me out here overthinking, but I can't help overhearing. When I'm around, your words just keep on slipping. Checking me out, is it that drink you're sipping? Saving face when you be tripping. You got your mind on some feelings that you can't be showing. While you out here tippy-toeing. You're so damn loud, you know I hear you're something.